What if everything you thought you knew about squatting was wrong?
What if keeping your heels glued to the floor, sitting back like you're on a toilet and never letting your knees travel forward was actually holding you back?
Because if you look back at the early days of strength training, what some call the golden age of physical culture, you'll find some legends doing exactly what modern fitness says not to do.
Deep squats on the toes, knees shooting forward, upright torsos, no high-tech equipment, just raw, functional strength training.
These are people like George Hackenschmidt, the Iron Guru Vince Gironda, and the Great Gamma who enjoyed an undefeated wrestling career of over 50 years. And they were onto something, because the tiptoe squat offers a whole host of advantages you won't find in conventional flat foot squatting. First, we're directly strengthening the foot and ankle, and you just simply do not get this in regular flat foot squats. Nothing we do athletically is done from a flat foot. Everything we do when we're on our feet involves pushing down into the floor and that force coming up through the chain. So if you have strong feet and ankles, everything above is going to be built on a solid foundation.
Next up, by driving the knees forward, we're preferentially going to target the VMO, which is that teardrop shaped muscle on the inside of your thigh. This is essential for knee health and athletic performance. And this type of squatting also opens up your adductors, aka the muscles on your inner thigh, and this is going to help you get more mobile at the same time you're getting stronger. And finally, because you're in this very upright position, there's almost zero strain on your low back, making this type of squatting extremely joint friendly. And once you master the tiptoe squat, you've unlocked a new path towards movements like the hack squat, the sissy squat, and even the reverse Nordic. Movements that most people think are impossible until they reclaim this simple old school pattern.
So if you want stronger quads, bulletproof knees, and a squat that feels really good for your body, get up off your heels and start doing tiptoe squats. So if you haven't done this type of squatting before, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So I'm going to show you first of all how to do this technically. Really? It's a little f***ing plane. And then I'm going to show you some progressions to take you from the bodyweight version all the way up to loading the tiptoe squat with the kettlebell.
Okay, so for the basic tiptoe squat technique, we're going to build it from the ground up. So the first thing we want to talk about is foot position. You don't want to have your feet particularly wide here. In fact, you want to have them about a fist distance apart. From here, we're going to turn them out a little bit. And we're going to make a point with the tiptoe squat. Unlike regular squatting where we break at the hip first, with the tiptoe squat, the break happens at the knee, right? The knees don't drive forward. They're actually driving out in the same direction the toes are pointing. So we're pulling them apart. Think about opening the knees as wide as you can. In the beginning, hold your hands out in front of you as a counterweight and squat down until your hamstring is sitting on your calf. So let's go over a couple of the finer points in the bottom position. First of all, we really want to think about getting up on those heels and think about almost trying to grab the floor with your toes. This is going to create a stronger foundation from which to squat. Second, don't be lazy with the knees, right? We don't want to let the knees collapse in at all. In fact, we want to do the opposite. We want to consciously think about consistently pulling the knees open at the bottom of the squat and when we come up top, right? We still want to keep that energy. Driving the knees out and wide. That's going to create a much stronger base as well as developing some real mobility in those adductors. Good goal for this is 30 repetitions without dropping your heels. The next variation is what is called the rising sun, and this is fantastic for opening up your thoracic spine and stretching out your shoulders. And what you're going to do here is you're going to link your fingers, straighten your arms here, and then lift them overhead. Get up on the tiptoes, and then everything we do with the lower body is exactly the same. Nice deep squat, pulling the knees apart, hamstring to calf, and up. Squat, and up. The rising sun is a more challenging exercise, so a good goal for this would be 12 straight repetitions without the heels or the arms dropping. And now we come to the full kettlebell loaded version. By far the best place to hold it for the tiptoe squat is in the goblet position, so there's very little challenge for the upper body. From here we get up nice and tall and everything's exactly the same, only now you're holding the kettlebell. We're going to drop into the squat, pull the knees apart and up. The primary difference when you do it with the kettlebell is, other than just holding the kettlebell, is it's okay to drop your heels between reps. The heels lift, pull the knees apart, come up,
And then you can drop your heels down, reset, okay? So the tiptoe squat develops that perfect blend of strength and mobility. And these are the qualities you need to develop to stay strong and capable over the long term. So now let's talk about where tiptoe squatting might fit in your program. First of all, let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with flat foot leg training, especially if you want to train heavy, but it should not exclusively make up the entirety of your lower body training. You should have a combination of flat foot leg training and leg training where you get up on your toes. Flat-footed lower body training definitely does have the advantage if you're trying to go very heavy, simply because the bones and muscles of the foot and ankle are so much smaller than the bones and muscles of the upper leg. So they would become a limiting factor when you're going extremely heavy. However, because of that, flat-footed leg training omits directly training the foot and ankle, which is one of the advantages of doing leg training up on your toes. So one way you can train the knee in a similar way to the tiptoe squat, but without the foot being a limiting factor, is to use a slant board. And if you haven't yet developed the foot and ankle mobility to do the tiptoe squat, the slant board can serve as a progression to help you develop it. Oh, hey, real quick. One of the healthiest things you can do past the age of 40 is to start a daily mobility practice. And to help you do that, I've put together a 7.5-minute morning mobility routine. You can get it by clicking the link in the description down below. It's specifically designed to undo a lot of the damage that our modern sedentary lifestyles are causing us. So it's going to unlock your spine, open up your hips, free up your shoulders, and leave you feeling a hell of a whole lot better. Get it by clicking the link in the description down below. So the tiptoe squat is not a lower repetition, grinding heavy kind of an exercise. It's best done for more moderate to higher reps, somewhere in the 10 to 30 repetition range, rather than doing a heavy set of 3 to 5. So if you want your hips, knees, and ankles to feel better, not worse as you grow older, then this type of training needs to be in your program. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video today. If you found the information in it useful, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel so much. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.